Probably, okay, so the first thing you want to do here is you want to go unlock that, okay, make this, whatever you want to call it. Of course, did I misspell it? No, I didn't misspell it. Then I'm going to put another layer here, and this is going to be my value. There's a bunch of ways you can do this. Okay, so then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go here to my drawing and drop this to multiply. Okay, so I do have to put this video up because I'm going over this. Okay, why are we putting it on multiply?
To get more.
You see the drawing underneath.
Yeah, it'll erase the white. So now I can come in here. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. I can come in here under here, and I don't have to worry about it. Now I could do this with a polygon lasso tool, and what I'm doing is I'm going in and I'm putting a just a mid-tone.
Mike, is it me or is the is it still on normal instead of multiply?
No, it's on multiply.
Oh, okay.
The layer I'm drawing.
Oh, the drawing. Okay, got it.
All you're doing when you do that, by the way, and I'll try and go over that because I can just show you guys will get it anyway. It's really the way they do like comic book color and all that kind of stuff. And I usually just don't even care, like, the hat's going to be white. I don't care right now. You know what I mean? Because I have so much flexibility in the digital environment, I don't really have to worry about it. And then what I tend to do, so let's say his hat is white. Well, let's just go here. Because if you want to break it down, if you haven't done this before, one easy way to do it is just to go, okay, my light's up there. Oh, the reason it's doing that opacity thing is because I didn't have it at 100%. So that's up here, right there, under opacity. Because then it'll just lay it all down as one value, and it won't vary. And then the other thing I like is I can go, there's all my value, let's say, and this is sloppy, but.
So, Mike?
Huh.
The gray value that you chose to start off right now, it's like a mid-gray, right? Like a 50% gray?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But to that point, I always do this. Then I'll go, well, that's okay, but I think it can go a little lighter. And I can just go to my levels, which is right here. Image, adjustment, levels, or Command L. And I can just lighten it up or darken it up. So I don't really care what I start with. That's probably better right there. And then I'm just going to go, okay, let's get a darker value. And you can put them up here as a swatch if you want. So you're constantly just picking the same ones. Let's see if this is even dark enough. It's not. So let's go a little darker. And then I'm going to start going, okay, where can I put? And you can put these all in different layers if you want, because like sometimes when I start this, I'll start the next dark value. So this is my dark value. And I'll start, I'll do it on another layer, and then I can adjust that too with my levels. Does that make sense?
Right.
Then I'm going to come in here with my smudge and kind of pull that out a little bit. So I don't want it to just be flat color. I want you guys to start thinking about this from a more painterly perspective.
Like soft and hard edges, right?
All that. So I'm going to come back in here and grab a little of that. Where else can I put it? Under here. Under here, this little banjo is going to. And then what I'm going to do. Did I give you guys my smudge brushes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm going to put a little bit of his, maybe a little bit of that in there. So basically when I'm just going through here and I'm starting to figure out my lighting a little bit, my dark and light. And then I'm going to go and find me a lighter value. Let's try that. Oops. Well, that's not really. Hang on a second.
Oh, I think you're on the drawing layer, Mike.
Oh, that's your fault, Elan. Damn it, I hate it when I do that. Okay, let's go back here. I screwed it up, but it's okay. And let's see if that's bright enough. Yeah, that's probably okay. And I'm going to start picking this stuff out. I don't think his hat needs to be that dark. And once I get all this like kind of knocked in, oops. But do you see how I'm not just approaching it with, I don't want you guys just doing line and fill. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I wanted a little more finesse than that. And then eventually I would build up to where I would start just sort of going off. But what I want to do is I want to lock it together with 3 values, mid, dark, mid, light. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that light is not your screaming white light. It's your kind of lighter value, but it's not specularity or that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because then I can start coming in here going, okay, I got this light value. I'm going to go a little lighter now.
Will we eventually add specularity at the end?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's the key to it at the end. Things like that happen, you know, just more towards the end. You know, I'll put a little bit more light there, but if you notice, I don't put it everywhere. I might go, okay, I want a little more dark in here. I think that can get darker. Maybe this whole side of his face can get darker. Then I got to go, okay, but his beard's white, so I probably don't want it that dark. Let's see if I can just go. Just want a little darker on this side. That's a little better. Then, you know, eventually I could come up here and maybe get a few hotter things. I'd probably come down here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then here, I might come in here now and go, I would do this. I'd come in here, let's try the lighter value. And I'd pop some of these little squares in his plaid so they'll start to feel more like a plaid pattern. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Eventually I'd put a layer, and then eventually I'll put a layer above it where I go, okay, I want to put a little highlight on this. I want to get a little more of that dark in here. A little more here. Maybe these boots are a lot darker. I don't know. And then maybe I can get a little reflected light off the ground into his pants right here. I'm above, which I'm screwing up. little more of the dark over here. So I'm just constantly adjusting. Yeah?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to take this dark value again. I want to give myself a few folds right there. Maybe this is darker. That's too dark. So maybe it's the other way. Maybe I'll use my lighter value here. So what I'm doing is I'm going through here. It's the same thing as we do with our line. I'm going through here and going, where can I pop, right? Where does it need to pop? And remember, one of the things you can use is it lights up here. It's there. It can come down here and bounce up into the pant leg and bounce up into different things if I need that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If I need it, if I go, damn, I need to light up that area down there, well, light bounces off the ground. And, you know, you can push that stuff. And once you know it, you can use it as a design tool to help you design your lighting, your environment, and all that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whenever I'm starting an illustration or anything like that, and I think I've said this in here, I'm always thinking about the lighting in the situation and what I can do with it. And then I go, well, if I put a bunch of fall leaves up there, I have an excuse to bounce a bunch of warm light in here. And then I have an excuse to bounce warm off the ground and up into the bottom of this figure, right? And then heat up all that lighting, and then I can throw a bunch of color into the bottom of this thing that might be all brown, and now I've got green in there and I've got a little bit of orange in there because I can say those lights are bouncing in there, and I can do it really subtly, but it really makes the illustration much more interesting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then it's not a big leap here if I want to go in and go, okay, I want to get rid of my line. And I'm going to go start building my face without line. But we won't get into that yet. Did you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could start building this guy without anything other than that. Okay, but does everybody understand what we're doing? I want this line
Yeah.
layer, multiply, underneath you start your value. Start with 3 values, dark, medium, light. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then I want you to
Yeah.
start thinking about your edges, so all the edges aren't just hard edges. Or do you need a value in between? Are you going like on a cheek, where it's going from like light and then, you know, or dark, and then it's starting to move into the light? Well, a lot of times there's that little half tone before it moves into the light, okay? And if you just have like a dark light, all of a sudden you got a hard line right there and it doesn't work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why you have that halftone thing there, because it literally moves it from the dark halfway into the light, right?
Yeah.
It's your halftone. It's your transitional tone, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that can also be, you know, if it's on a bigger scale, it can also be a core shadow, you know, that separates the two light and dark parts, okay? Because you see that all the time with student work. You see this like dark right into a light. It's like, that doesn't work. There's got to be a transition there most of the time, right? Unless you're getting really harsh lighting or something. Any questions on that? Yeah,
Can
no?
you upload what you just did to YouTube, just like the coloring part?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, thank
You
you.
don't, you guys want me to just upload this little part?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay, good, because it's faster for me too.
You have to use only gray, black, and white, right?
Value, black and white.
Okay.
You don't want to be at 100. Okay, and here's the other thing, because we're going to go to color on this. Don't go as your dark. Do not use a pure black. It won't pick up color. So go to a, you know, whatever this is, whatever, you know, if you look over here now, they got it listed in here. So one of these dark values in here is probably fine, but don't go all the way to black. It just won't accept any color. Okay. And it's all relative to whatever that darkest value you put down is. So once you put that darkest value down, everything becomes relative to that. So that will seem very dark, even though it's not pure black. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I will put this up. I'll try and get it done real quick, like right now, hopefully. Does that make sense? Oh, by the way, on the Digital Arts Facebook page, I just put an interview up with Rachel Elise, and she's over at DreamWorks right now. So go over and look at it. Yeah?
Yeah, I saw
We're doing
it
a thing.
posted.
Huh?
I saw it posted or today, so I was like, "Ooh, I have to watch it." So
Yeah, she's great. But that's going to be an ongoing thing. We're calling it Alumni Corner. We're going to start going around to people who graduated and or gone on, and start interviewing all of them. So that's the first one. Yeah.
That's awesome.
yes, sounds like
Yeah,
a
because we
great
got people over Disney
series.
TV, we got people at Vans, we got people at MGA, we got people all over the place, and I want them coming back and talking. And I think this is a really good way of doing it. I just talked to my old intern last night. He's over at Apple Music. I'm going to get him to come in. I'm probably just going to come into a class. And Shakay Hegnazarian, I've already talked to her, and she said she's going to come in and talk to the class. She's over at Warner Brothers as a character artist right now. She's been everywhere. So I'm trying to line up a lot of people, and people, I actually think we can expand this alumni idea into just talking to people in general. You know what I mean? I think we can do the same thing with just a lot of different artists, even if they didn't come from Fullerton. I want to keep the Alumni Corner as its own thing, but because we got enough people out there now doing interesting things where I think we can have quite a few really cool interviews with them. Okay?
Sounds great.
Jihan,
Yeah.
let's do Thursday.
Thursday, I want value.
Okay.
Just like what I'm doing, not with this, like with this, with your value.
Cool.
Will we be moving straight into color, or
Yeah.
are we gonna do a lineless thing first?
We're probably going to do a lineless thing first, or at least I'm going to show you how to do it, which I got to really do on Thursday.
Okay.
Because I think that's super important. It's the reason I do this exercise, really.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm excited to do that. So.
Yeah, it's really what you trick yourself into it, basically. And then once you know how to do that, you go, oh, that's all it is. That's basically how it works. Does that make sense? It probably doesn't make sense, but it will after I go over.
Yeah,
it.
no, I was starting to see how you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm
already
doing it
with
right
your
here.
lines
If
right
I
now.
turn that off, I've got the beginning of a painting.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
And I start a lot of digital paintings like this. I just start off just throwing down color and everything, and then I turn it off, and all of a sudden I go, oh, my painting started. And I just start, then I start shaping these shapes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. hmm
You know,
Yeah, definitely.
I can take I think it's really important because it's something I had to learn when I was in school, was how to transition from drawing to painting. Right?
Yeah.
So everybody kind of has to learn how to do that. And I love doing this, by the way. You know, and then I could put that tooth back in there. And I'd have to recapture her. You know, I'd usually have this a lot further along before I do that. Does that make sense, you guys? And it's also the reason I don't just want to line and fill. I want you to think about the edges and stuff like that. So when we jump over onto the lineless color thing, it's you're already starting to work on that. Does that make sense without thinking about it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody knows what we're doing, right? I want 3 values on Thursday, yeah?
Wait,
Thank
3
you. Yep.
values?
Yeah.
Huh?
Hi, Mike.
Wait,
All right, you guys.
3 values.
What's
Three
that?
different colors or 3 different drawings?
3 different values in one drawing.
Okay.
I don't want multiple drawings. Give me one. I want one drawing nailed down with value. Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep. Thank
Okay,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Mike.
All right, you guys.
All
I'll
right,
see you
thanks,
later.
Mike. See you later.
See you at 4:30.
Yep.